Hey guys, this is Mike Barnes, the financial first responder. Hey, happy Friday. Hey, today I wanted to talk about your mentality. And what do I mean by mentality? Do you have a do or die attitude? And what do I mean by that? What I find as a financial first responder, financial advisor, financial planner, um, as a business coach, I find that people tend to forget who they are competing with. You're not competing with anybody. You're competing with oneself, yourself. And so for the next few minutes, I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you about you competing with you. So basically, I want to talk to you about yourself. Now, as I talk to you, these are some revelations that I came across this year, and I'm working towards competing with myself and not comparing because it's easy to get caught up into looking at your peers, at your loved ones, and at other people in your industries that, or maybe they're not in your industries, but they're doing well. And so, without further ado, let's get started. So, as Mike Barnes, the financial first responder, would say to you, focus on your personal improvement. You notice here I have some thumbtacks, and they're on a map. And what I would point out to you is this: when you compete with yourself and you are focused on becoming better every day rather than comparing yourself to others, this is where you become a leader. You are going to feel more fulfilled. You're going to have sustainability in your journey, in your self-improvement goals. You see, if we stop comparing and competing and compete with ourselves, if this was a Olympic race and you were a runner. Now I've ran the Marine Corps Marathon 2 times. I've ran the Army 10 miler 3 times, and I can always tell you that I can always tell when I go from comparing myself to others to competing with myself. And I can tell you that, in the Army 10 miler, yeah, it's just 10 miles for some of you people who are ultra marathon people. But them 10 miles, after that first, second, third, fourth, fifth mile, you get to the fifth mile, you realize you're halfway through. You get to the sixth, seven, eight, but nine and 10, no matter what your race is, you know you're getting close to getting that medal, getting across that finish line. That's when your body, your brain, everything goes into effect. Same thing with the Marine Corps Marathon. Both times that I ran it, I can tell you right now, it was a battle of the mind. The battle of my mind. It was a battle of my mind to compete with myself. You start looking at the other people, looking at their sizes, their shapes. You look at their ethnic groups. If they can do it, you can do it. But at the end of the day, it's a race between you and your mind. If your mind doesn't matter, then it won't matter. I tell people that all the time. So I thank God that I learned that in the Marine Corps. And I taught that to my son when he was going through his gauntlet at the Citadel. Mind over matter. If you don't mind, it won't matter. So, with that said, let's go on to my next point, which is avoiding negative comparisons. Now, in the previous slide, I was talking about comparing yourself to others. Now, unfortunately, in society and school, whether, grade school, high school, college, grad school, we've been pushed to compare ourselves. But let's not get it twisted. Nobody remembers in the Super Bowl or the NBA Finals or any other competition who came in second. They always remember who's number one. So Comparing yourself to others can often lead to feelings of inadequacy or sometimes superiority, which can be detrimental to your self esteem and your overall well being. Now, while I'm on this point, competition is good. Don't get me wrong. There's competition in business, there's competition in sports. But by focusing on your own progress, you can avoid these negative comparisons and stay motivated. Now, a lot of athletes, when they hang up the shoes or hang up the actual sport, they can remember being a part of a winning team. And I can tell you right now, there's no team greater than your family that you compete for. So what I would say to you is you want to be in a situation where you're competitive and competing with yourself. Avoid negative comparisons. Okay, Mr. Financial First Responder Mike Barnes, I understand what you're saying, but you compare all the time. Compare and contrast, yes, but you should be doing that to yourself. Now, how do we do that? We set realistic goals. Now, you'll notice in this little video, all the arrows are going one way, one way, one way, one way, right? So, with that said, when you compete with yourself and you can set the goals that are realistic and achievable based on your own abilities and circumstances, this can help you stay motivated and maintain a sense of accomplishment as you reach these goals. Now, I've heard of the big, um, hairy, audacious goals that people set, and there's nothing wrong with you setting those goals. But the reality of the matter is you got to be willing to put the work in. And so if you're constantly competing with yourself, getting better and doing better, then you'll get better. So be, do, have. Become better, do more, have more. With that said, I'm going to talk to you about something that I think you really need to do. You need to embrace your personal strengths and your weaknesses. Now, what do I mean by that, Mike Barnes, financial first responder? See, everyone has their own unique strengths and weaknesses. By competing with yourself, though, you can focus on improving your weaknesses while also embracing and enhancing your strengths and leading to more balanced and a fulfilling life. I always tell people you should do a SWOT analysis. You should look at your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. And if you look at that for a situation, wouldn't it work even better if you look at it when it's pertaining to you? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What are the opportunities and what are the threats that would keep me from getting there? So I'll give you a perfect example. A strength for me might be that I like to communicate with people. A weakness might be that I will try to communicate with people that are not in my avatar or in my niche or my niche. An opportunity might be that I only work with people who are of like minded caliber. And a threat would be if I have other people in my space that I try to compare myself to because they're in my space. But I'm a firm believer what God has for me is for me. And regardless of who you are, you can't take from me what is for me. Remember, compete with yourself, not with others. Now that leads me to this other part, building resilience. Now resilience is one of those words that in the military, in law enforcement, in the fire department, in a lot of places in society, people have talked about becoming resilient. And how do you become resilient? Well, I'm going to suggest to you that being resilient might be as simple as this. Competing with yourself can help you build resilience and perseverance as you learn to overcome obstacles and challenges on your own terms. This can translate to a greater success and satisfaction in all your areas of life. But first, you have to be resilient. You got to understand that life gives you what you give it. What you put in is what you get out. And for some of you, financially, spiritually, mentally, physically, you haven't put much in. So why do you keep expecting much out? You have to have some form of challenge or resilience. Well, we've been talking about this, and this is Mike Barnes, the financial first responder. I'm going to sum it up. I'm going to bring my plane in for a landing. But I'm also going to tell you that you're going to have to learn how to balance your situation. See, overall, competing with yourself allows you to focus on your own journey of growth and self discovery, leading to a more fulfilling and balanced life. We've been talking for the last couple of minutes about having a competition with oneself and not with others. And so, if I could leave you with one other thing, when we're talking about finances, compete with yourself. Don't compare yourself to the Joneses. When we're talking about spirituality, compete with yourself. Focus, meditate, read your word, your scriptures, whatever your relationship is with God, work on that. Your physical, work on getting better. Look at losing weight or gaining muscle pound by pound. And then health. Eat healthy. Do everything in moderation because life is not promised. And with that said, this is Mike Barnes, the financial first responder. I appreciate your time and your patience. I ask that God bless you on this Friday and give you the peace and understanding to compete with oneself.